Hi, we're going to go ahead and do a Class 5 composite restoration for you right now, and I'll explain the steps as I go. First thing you would do is you would etch all around the margins first. Leave that on for about 10 seconds, and then you're going to etch on the inside for about 10 seconds. And then when you rinse, you have to make sure you thoroughly rinse it. So if you left that on for 15 seconds, it's recommended to rinse for 15 seconds. Make sure that you don't over dry because you'll desiccate the tooth. So once you etch and then dry a tooth, the enamel will appear chalky. If you etch and you rinse and dry and it does not appear chalky, you can go ahead and re-etch for half the time, and if it still doesn't look chalky white and you're sure that you had everything isolated, then go ahead and proceed with the restoration. So since I etched, I'm going to go ahead and put some bond in the tooth. Make sure that I put the bond in really well and rub it all in there, all over the cavo surface margin. Okay. And then I'm going to air dry it lightly. Cure. You always want to pay attention to what the specific manufacturer's instructions recommends. Each product is going to be different. So if you choose to use a flowable to do the sandwich technique, you would put flowable composite in first and then cure that. I'm going to go ahead and put some packable in there. I already removed a little bit of the material to make sure there was nothing hard in there. I'm going to put just a small amount in there. I like to put a little bit of bond on my instrument so that the material doesn't stick to my instrument, but you pack this in into all of the walls and along the floor really well. Remove any additional material that's squished out. And then cure that layer. Make sure when you're curing, you want to line the light up parallel to the preparation. proceed with the next layer. So what I need to do is we need to build up the height of contour. And unlike with amalgam, you don't have to overfill. You just want to make sure that this is packed in there very well. And that all of your margins are nice and flush. So, if you remember correctly, when we started the amalgams, there's 5 different ways of holding your instrument in order to achieve that height of contour. So I am, using the plastic instrument 5 different angles, making sure that, this distal wall is flush, making sure the mesial wall is flush, and then freehand the center at the point that you created. I'm going to go ahead and use my mirror. Look at the side of it to see if it's contoured well before I cure it. You want it to look natural. You don't want to have any additional material. Okay, that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that. Make sure that your lens does not touch the composite, but you're very close to the composite. And then you need to get your Explorer and check to make sure everything feels very nice and smooth everywhere. If anything catches, then that's some extra composite that needs to be removed. Okay. So what we can do now is, these are discs. 3M discs are really nice to use in this case. You want to start with the abrasive and then work your way down the other 3 discs to the fine. So if you were able to put that height of contour in, you don't want to use the disc flat to the tooth because then you'll take your contour away. So you have to adapt your discs properly. I'll demonstrate that. So I'm going to check it again. There's still a few areas there. Now this is the large disc. There's small discs as well that you can use. Very careful around the gums, and you can see how I'm adapting that. You can also use it like this and come up instead of swipe down. I'm going to check that cable surface margin again. It's getting better. When you check, I want to make sure that you're really trying to, get caught at that cable surface margin, because it's so important that you have it flush. Watch how you adapt this, because you'll take your height of contour away. Whoops, bumped the camera. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next disc. Before you start using that though, you need to rinse and dry. Go over the same way with the next disc. Hard with this camera being in the way. Alright, I'm gonna rinse it again real quick and switch to the next. Shine it up nicely. Bit of a catch there. I should have caught that before I went through all of the discs. If you have any composite on any part of the tooth, you need to make sure that usually will flick right off of the enamel, because it wasn't etched or bonded. I just have to go over that again real quick. Okay, so once you're finished, it should be really, really smooth everywhere, should not be catching anywhere, and you want to make sure that your instrument basically rolls in order to be able to touch this part of the tooth and this part of the tooth. If you can touch this part down here at the gingival third, the filling, and the part of the tooth up here at the occlusal third, then your filling's too flat. So your instrument should basically, you know, one side of it should be sticking out when you're checking this. If these two sides or surfaces touch, then it should be sticking out up here. If these two touch, it should be sticking out down there. Okay?